I'm a man who believed that I died 20 years ago, and I live like a man who is dead already. I have no fear whatsoever of anybody or anything.
I am an investigative journalist, and in 1996, I wrote a series of stories entitled Dark Alliance, which was about CIA involvement in drug trafficking.
I knew a man who once said death smiles at us all. All a man can do is smile back.
We're both in Skull and Bone, the secret society. It's so secret we can't talk about it. What does that mean for America? The conspiracy theorists are going to go on.
I'm sure they are. I don't know. I haven't seen the rest.
Number 322.
I have duty to report this afternoon that my friend and colleague, Tim Russert, collapsed and died early this afternoon.
I may die in this cell tonight or in the arena tomorrow. I am a slave. What possible difference can I make?
And no official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, civilian or military, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know.
What's up, guys? What the fuck is up? Welcome to another episode of Already Dead with me and Austin Picard. And today we have Xavier G joining us. I do remind you guys the second half of this show is a call-in portion. I just figured out right before this show how to set up an actual legit call-in, like a landline number. So I'll probably put that banner up when we get closer to midway through the episode. That way you guys can start calling it up. But for my patrons, you guys do have the link, the StreamYard link, so you guys can pop in that way if you prefer. And I also will tweet that out about halfway through the episode so that people have that. Or you can do the call-in method, whichever works better for you guys, or just the live chat. Either way, we'll be interacting with you guys for the second half. But I'm excited to have Xavier here for our first, I guess, non-pilot episode, because last episode was kind of the launch of this. Obviously, it's kind of like sort of under the banner of No Way Jose, also sort of under the banner of the Underclass podcast, which is Austin's. But we're just kind of a merger podcast. We're just kind of streaming it to both, a weekly live call-in type thing. And we'll have guests occasionally, but it's just mostly us shooting the shit and having fun. So we're glad to have you here for our first guest episode, Xavier. I don't know if there's anything you want to tell our audience about you. I mean, I think most of my audience probably watches Tinfoil Hat, but for those who don't, I guess if you want to give yourself a little quick introduction.
I'm XG from Tinfoil Hat. I also do a couple other podcasts. That one right there, Scum and Kick It. She's a huge fan of the show, as you can tell. She wears all the merch, Tinfoil Hat, all that stuff. It's funny. I do that. I do George Press stories as well. It's another podcast, which is another comedy paid regular, but it's more of a he's a gangster. I don't know if you guys ever remember watching MTV Your Mama.
Yes.
He was one of the ones that won MTV Your Mama back in the day. So he went to jail. I mean, you can hear the story on George Perez, but he went to jail.
Wow.
Went to jail, and then while his special was out, so like all the POs were like, "Would I just watch you on HBO?" And he's like, "Yeah." So he came out. Yeah, so he came out, had no idea about like podcasting and Instagram, so I kind of just helped him out. And I do that one as well, called George Press Stories, Come and Kick It, We Don't Smoke the Same, and Tinfoil Hat, which we go deep down the rabbit hole.
For sure. I know George Perez, bro. I've seen him a couple times at the store. Honestly, like I saw him at the last Comedy Chaos. I'm almost certain that he was on the lineup for that one. But dude, he's a killer, bro. His act is legit. Like honestly, I really enjoyed it. It was great. Him and then Tony Rock. Like he killed that night, bro. Like I was so impressed by Tony Rock's act.
And
it was badass.
What's crazy about George, like you said, like he's got a real act, and he like to this day he works at a strip club as a DJ. He does it just for the stories. Like he don't really need any. Like, he's a paid. We got the podcast. He does it just like 3 or 4 days a week, day shifts. goes interacts with the females, gets some funny shit out of them, comes back, tells the stories. But, yeah, and during COVID, I moved in with them. He blessed me to give me a room in his house during COVID. And I'm not lying, dude. It was a wild time living as a gangster during COVID. I was like, holy fuck. I was like, are we gonna die from cocaine or COVID in the beginning?
Oh my god, bro. That fentanyl scares me, dog.
Right. Oh yeah, no, dog. You gotta lay off that shit, especially from LA. You like no.
Mm-hmm. No,
Yeah.
not good out here.
I do think one thing I've noticed lately from you, XG, it seems to be you've been disillusioned with the Helen Keller propaganda. So I guess it'd be kind of a good place to start with that. I've never really delved too deep, but I know that it wasn't too long ago. But I think it was maybe it was Owen Benjamin or somebody about like less than a year ago shared some shit, and I was like, yeah, that's bullshit. I mean, especially then you see stuff with like Stephen Hawking, and you're like, I'm pretty sure he was just like full blown retarded, and they were just propping him up. So I do think this is a common trope we see where there are these constructed individuals which are literally just disability cases that
we
like to pretend are legit.
Was diddling kids on Epstein's Island? You know,
I mean, that's more believable than him being like a highly cognitive, functioning,
100%.
physicist or whatever the fuck he was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I went. I ran into it like kind of randomly. I'm dating some chick, and she invited me over to like a family party, and I heard the kids talking about her. And then I was like kind of nosy. I was like, hey, well, what about her? And then they told me that she flew a plane. And then that's when I was like, there's no way, because I remember the story like very like the little bits and parts that the school teacher. And I remember she was deaf, she was blind, and she could like talk. To me, that sounds crazy, but not too wild. But once you start telling me that she wrote 12 books, she flew a plane, she had an English accent, this is when I was like, oh, this is to make you feel dumb when you end up not doing nothing as like a 40-year-old.
Did they really make that claim though, that she flew a plane? Because I don't know why. I've always in my head conflated Amelia Earhart and Helen Keller. I almost use the names interchangeably. I'll be saying Amelia Earhart and be talking about Helen Keller and vice versa. So I don't know if maybe that something. Maybe
it's a Mandela effect going on right there. I don't know, but I could have swore that they said that she fucking flew a plane. And even then, okay, let's throw that one out. Let's say that one was
that's a bit beyond the pale. I don't know if I can buy that
Mandela
one.
effect. Okay, but if she's deaf and blind and she's from Alabama, how does she have an English accent?
Yeah, no, that's ridiculous. Yeah.
I just think it's so crazy that they act like she was some intellectual superior of some kind, like that, that we can learn from, right? Isn't that the concept basically, is that she was like actually like very sophisticated and like thinking very deeply intellectually in the recesses of her dark mind that she couldn't get across to the rest of us because of her, disabilities or whatever the hell. And then they use her as like some pillar of like, our education system. She's definitely one of like the key, at least the stories that I remember learning when I was in school. I for sure, even though I honestly, like you guys, I mistook her except for Anne Frank for some reason. I have no idea why.
Also fake. That's probably why.
Right. That's exactly why, probably, dude. But I don't know, man. I don't buy that.
That is a rabbit hole. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't say 100% it's entirely bullshit, but I'm like 75% the Anne Frank story is bullshit.
Well, look, I'm not saying that Helen Keller wasn't like a real person.
Right. No. Yeah.
Like I'm saying, I'm just saying those extra like wrote a 12 book. Well, like, can I read the book?
Right.
Like what type of like? Did the airplane have Braille? Is that how you flew? Is that how she flew the plane? Because I mean, if you tell me more of the story, you're like, well, the plane was for handicaps? Then it's more believable. But I'm thinking she flew a little like a Boeing 911 type of shit.
Oh, don't bring up Boeing, bro. Don't bring that up, dog.
Dude, what is
Boeing's
up
out
with
here
that
Epstein
shit?
And motherfuckers, man.
I'm supposed to be going on tour with Sam. I'm kind of like, can we reschedule? What's up with those planes? Have you guys looked into it?
Scared to fly, man. Like, honestly,
are those the ones specifically that supposedly all the kid peddlers are fucking riding around in? Is that what you're getting at, or am I missing something?
No,
No.
this guy that was testifying about how they basically are manufacturing their planes like using faulty methods of like production and like even just like, for example, all the oxygen masks wouldn't, basically most of them wouldn't even function in the event of an emergency, like many different details that this guy was set to testify and basically was found dead by allegedly by suicide.
That was the whistleblower thing that I keep seeing going around. Okay,
yep.
And that was about what, Boeing maintenance procedures type deal?
Basically,
or?
yeah. It was about how they were actually manufacturing their planes, which, yeah, it seemed like it was basically what he was saying is that it was not that they were cutting costs, but that it was deliberate, right? And so I don't know what the implication is, other than, I mean, they are clearly, on board with the DEI that's happening right now, which is clearly affecting many different industries, by design, I would imagine. But at the same time, I wouldn't think that that's the primary reason for this whistleblower to come out and say something to that effect.
That immediately makes me go limited hangout. Like, what are you're trying to get me to believe that you were killed them because you guys have been cutting corners for maintenance costs? Like, what the fuck are you guys doing? What are you really doing?
Exactly, bro. That's how I felt.
Well,
but honestly,
did you guys see that one thing though? I think a journalist went into like one of the factories and he started asking questions, and he was asking the factory workers, would you get in, would you fly, would you get inside one of these planes? And I think like 7 out of like 11 said they wouldn't get on the plane. And then I guess he was asking people like, hey, what do you guys do on break? And I guess people are getting high at the Boeing factories, but like at every fucking factory, people are getting high.
Right.
Like, you get what I mean? Like any of those big like warehouses, like Amazon warehouses, Boeing factories, there's 1 or 2 guys that go to the parking lot, get in their car on lunch break and fucking toke up or do whatever the fuck they got to do.
No doubt.
That thing is just like, it sounds sketchy when you hear it, but it's like, it's everywhere if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people on the show know I was an aircraft mechanic for over a decade in the Air Force. So, but like, I don't know, like I could totally do that job stoned. I never did, but I could. It's not that hard. So I don't know. It's not that big of a deal. I know that sounds like something a drug addict would say, but I don't know. Anyone who's smoked weed consistently is like, there's some tasks you can do and be stoned. It's not a big deal. I mean, especially like most of that stuff would be like inspecting the aircraft, making sure it's like it's sound to go up, most of that type of stuff. So if anything, when I'd be stoned, I'd be kind of like, well, make sure to look behind there. Make sure to look behind there.
Right. Yeah.
And if anything, you might get a little paranoid and double check it because you thought you did it. Look, you're like, oh, fuck, I don't want to get fired because I'm high. Let me go double check that. Now you're
What's
good.
taking you so long? That would probably be the complaint,
Yeah, I'm doing a thorough job, boss.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
Yeah. But when it comes to like surgeons, I do agree. Not all jobs can be done high.
No, not at all.
Too.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it depends individually as well. Like I've seen so many people, that they clearly. I don't think it's just the tolerance thing. Like I think they just have a crazy, extraordinary overreaction whenever they get high on, honestly, not just weed either, just many different, it depends on who you are and basically your exposure, I kind of think, because that lends a little bit more to the tolerance, but I don't think that that's the main thing because I don't know. I used to get my buddies high for the first time. I was that guy when I was in school. You know what I mean? Like that my sister was older. I was hanging out with like older people. And so I just, I saw so many people have like hilarious reactions to getting high for the first time.
I mean, let's not forget that one time Oren Benjamin got high on Joey Diaz's show. He gave it to everybody. It's just his reaction was just completely different. And there's something you don't know. Sometimes you don't know it's going to hit that and you feel bad. I've been there. Like you said, I feel bad when I've given someone too much. You're like, fuck, I was trying to get you to have fun, not to throw up. Yeah,
now you're
and
gonna get Owen to make a big rant about this show. He always gets upset when people say that broke him. He swears he didn't. I don't know enough about the lore to really have a strong opinion one or the other, but I know he sure does get riled up about it when people bring up the weed thing.
Have you guys seen the last Tinfoil Hat episode?
I did watch it. I haven't watched it all the way, but I started it and I was listening.
He came on, and him and Sam.
Oh, no, Owen's on?
Owen came on the latest Tinfoil Hat. Must have maybe like
I don't know if it's posted yet, bro.
It might not be out yet. And no, it might not be out. We recorded it like last week, so it might be coming out. It might be coming out tomorrow or tonight. You guys just be ready.
The last time he was on, and he was just yelling at Sam and berating Sam. I felt so fucking bad.
So different. This time they felt like old friends. They were like, "Okay, I'm sorry. You were right."
Awesome,
that's what I was about to say. The reason I'm saying it is because he's not coming after me because it felt very like homies, like they kind of got over it, and Sam's like, "You were right about the N-word," and then he's like, "Thank you."
Oh, did they finally come to agreement on the
that's
N-word?
what brought them together. Hell
yeah. It's kind of was like not that Sam wants to say it, but he's like that thing where like you shouldn't be able to say pedo jokes but not say the N-word. Like you know what I mean? Like you should like it's that thing where it's like whatever, we to each their own. But in Owen Benjamin, it's kind of like yeah.
I mean, everyone knows me. I'm a co-host in Tower King, so I'm a strong N-word supporter. I support all N-words out there. I mean, whatever. To me, it's just a word. It's a mouth sound. It's like, I mean, I get it if I'm using it derogatory towards you and you take offense to it. That makes sense. But if you're just making a joke, you're just making a joke. It's all about context. And people like to get riled up about it, and it's not that fucking complicated. Like, obviously, if I called you an N-word right now, XG, you'd have every reason to be like, yo, what the fuck? But if it's just
the only reason I'd be like, I understand is because I'm wearing a Laker thing, but I would still be like, that's still racist, dog. Like, I understand where you're coming from, but nah.
Yeah, not cool. We don't have that sort of rapport yet.
Oh, man. Dude, all I have to say, though, is that Eddie Bravo, I fucking love Eddie Bravo, okay? Like, honestly, man. Like,
Jiu-Jitsu Jesus, dude.
Dude, I swear to God, he really is.
You know, when I went on Tinfoil Hat,
I was so fucking pissed when that
was
happened.
random. He literally just randomly was like, yeah, Eddie Bravo's going to be the episode that day. I was like, what?
Dude, somehow.
Like, I'd be like, normally I'd be like kind of upset to get like a last minute like random guest thrown in. But I was like, okay.
Especially because he has a lot of energy, you know. Like you were like, okay, yeah, it's gonna be hard at throwing your punches with him.
Certain aspects of the conversation a little bit.
But there's nothing better than having him as an add-on to any podcast you're on.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna complain. That's pretty cool. But all right, that throws a curveball in my game plan.
I thought you handled it very well, though, especially since Eddie was dropping, like, he would just like completely divert the conversation to a different area of interest.
Yeah, I think he went full on about how Trump's like a gray hat or some shit, or a white hat, the deep state, and how he's gonna save us all or some shit.
Bro, I remember listening to that, and it literally inspired. I never comment very often on Instagram or anything, but like I like it inspired me to comment like, bro, you're living my dream, man. You're on Tinfoil Hat with Eddie Bravo. Like, but honestly, I'll never forget, like, dude, I was sitting front row at not the last Comedy Chaos, but the last time I went to see Comedy Chaos, and Eddie did his set, right? And I was sitting there, and like, I was pretty drunk at the time, you know what I mean? So like, then like he like locks eyes with me while he's doing his bit about reusing condoms, right? And bro, I got all like nervous. I had like a weird facial reaction, and I was like, oh shit, like like Eddie might think I'm gay or something like after that. Dude, it was such I was overthinking it, I imagine, but honestly, it was so fucking funny, though. I'll never forget that bit, man. Like, I love that fucking guy. But
no, it's just funny. That's one of his best bits for sure.
I love it so much. But honestly, my only issue with Eddie is that I just don't get how you can. I understand wanting to, like, it's kind of like a God complex scenario where it's like you're hoping that there's an alternative to this. There's a counter. I've heard Eddie say that there's a counter to the Great Reset. And he kind of thinks that Trump is ushering in that counter. And I just like, no matter how much I love him, I can't agree with that, and I would love to have a conversation with him at some point. I'm sure I would be as respectful as possible. But at the same time, it's like, all the evidence we have about Donald Trump and who he actually was affiliated with in many aspects, including Roy Cohn, like his mentor, and like he's all tied up in the Epstein network, like Whitney Webb, Whitney, she's done insane work, very credible on all those connections between Trump and these deep state intelligence connections with basically that same group involved with the Clintons. And so I just find it like frustrating is my only thing, because I'm curious to hear your theory, because I don't really, I'm entirely disillusioned by the political process. I'm disenfranchised. I have no one out there that I can see represents me in any way. Not that I'm basically philosophically opposed to representation in the first place, or whatever. But so I don't believe that we can utilize this system in order to salvage and fix and repair as deeply sadistic as the system we exist in truly fucking is, man. Like, I'm fresh off of another satanic pedophile cult, completely propped up by researching this, like completely propped up again by a government established like infrastructure, like entirely facilitating this network, and going beyond that, covering it up in every facet that you could imagine. I mean, where you literally have cops being suicided, judges being, removed from the case, prosecutors being found dead in their office, and I mean, it's like, how the fuck can one guy come in who's not even making these decisions legislatively? I mean, and beyond that, as much as I do like some of the reactions to Trump, like, dude, he has some terrible instincts that we can't, there's no way around. We have to admit that, just based on like post Vegas shooting. I mean, first thing, his instinct was, fuck the Supreme Court, grab the guns, we'll deal with it later. And it's just like, dude, that's conservative Jesus coming to save the fucking day. Like, that's crazy to me. I will say my favorite thing about him was he didn't start any new wars, basically. And he did round up a lot more pedophiles statistically, and that's a fucking big deal, and even
on the wars
that.
front, though, people bring that up all the time, but it's like,
yeah.
I guess you can be a little bit pedantic, and I guess in a certain sense it is great he started no official new wars, but he did increase the scope of the ones that we were in. So net, we increased the bloodshed. So it's like, it's kind of the same. It's no different really than adding a war.
War powers resolution for Yemen. Didn't he veto that? I'm almost positive that it was like a joint resolution between Bernie Sanders and Rand Paul. And it was one of the only times that Bernie Sanders, does anything worth a shit. And he decided to actually sign on to this war powers resolution with Rand Paul. And then it was just vetoed in the Senate, if I remember correctly, which you just, you're prolonging a war.
Anytime the star of Remfan comes into play.
Yeah. Dude. It's just frustrating.
That's Israel, by the way. The Star of David. It's a star.
Right. But I'm not talking shit. Like I said, I love Eddie, dude. And
Sam says the same thing. Sam's on the same thing. He doesn't think that he doesn't really think Trump's going to do anything different, because he was already president for 4 years. And then can we say it was that much better?
Right.
It's going to be better. I do think it's going to be better when he comes. I mean, I do think he's going to make it better, because I mean, how much worse can you get than Biden?
Well,
Did you see the State of the Union? He's more mad that he called Mexicans illegals than he forgot that girl's name.
Bro, I know, man.
Yeah, I mean, a counterpoint though is I would say is I mean, and I can argue both sides of this. Don't get me wrong, I will if there's a Trump presidency, I will enjoy it because it is enjoyable.
Yeah,
it is
exactly.
it's cathartic.
Even for the comedy, as a guy who gets up on stage, at least for the comedy, to me, I'm like, all right, fuck it. The country's going to shit, but I'm enjoying the fuck out of this. You know, I'm laughing to the grave.
But right. on the flip side, when you have an individual, there almost would be a positive to like say a Biden getting reelected. Now, like imagine that crypt keeper somehow managing to fucking carry on another 4 years, and what effect that would have on typically, you know, what's going to be red states, rural areas. They're going to, you know, pull away more from the federal government. They're going to set things up more to where they're more insulated from it. And yeah, it'll cause the blue areas to go more to shit, but that's kind of their fucking problem. And I know that's kind of you right now, XG. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe you guys need to start thinking through a little bit.
It's only. I mean, not that it's only that because of Sam, but I mean, Sam goes, we go.
Yeah, right.
Like it's like like I mean, but it's not. I mean, it's crazy, but it's not okay. It just depends where it is. I live in. He knows what's up. I live in Glendale.
Mm-hmm.
Glendale's nice.
Yeah. No,
you go to downtown.
Bad.
Yeah, you know how bad I want a loft in downtown. You know how cheap the lofts are in downtown are, but you're paying what you get. Like literally, there's homeless everywhere. You walk your dog, it might step on a
little bit farther from crypto.com or whatever the fuck they call it now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, dude, it looked like the surface of the moon. I was like, what is going on here? Abandoned buildings, like it looked like Skid Row for real, you know, but it is crazy, man. Yeah. Honestly, I can't even like. It looks like an alien universe. Like it didn't even look like the same planet.
Well, I mean, the World Cup and the Olympics are coming to LA.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they're gonna fix that all up? Do you think
they might do what they did in San Francisco the week that Xi Jinping came? Like, you know what I mean? Like they might do that, but I can't imagine. Dude,
it's impossible. I think it's so big that it was impossible because that's what my dad said. I asked my dad about it, and he told me back in the day when they had the Olympics here, they cleaned up LA because you got to make it look good for the terrorists. For the tourists. Yeah, I was about to say terrorists. For the tourists, they're gonna be here. Trust me. If there are, they will be here. But nah. But for the tourists, you know, for the cameras, for like the people, for everything, and he said they cleaned it up. I don't think it's possible to clean it up.
Not here, dude. I don't see that. I mean, but you know what's crazy? I just went to the movies with my lady the other day, and we're sitting there waiting for the movie to start, and one of the every fucking preview was the exact same plot. Was basically the central point was we're all in this together alone, you know you fall, divided you fall, united we stand type of bullshit. But then there's literally a fucking movie that's called Civil War, right? And the whole thing is like 100% just inflating the culture war, you know, like that's their primary focus of just trying to ratchet up the culture war. We're in an election year. It's go time, like in my opinion, you know, and that's basically what it seems like is happening. I don't know if any of the renewed censorship on Twitter, you know, it seems like it's recently been happening a little bit more, but you know, I don't know if that's directly due to this being an election year or not, but I do think it's interesting. You know, it seems like plausible enough that they would ratchet up, you know, what is allowable opinion, you know, in the marketplace of ideas, you know, but who knows?
Yeah, for those who aren't aware, recently Radix Verum or Christina, she lost her documentary account she's making a documentary on the whole Michigan Whitmer kidnapping thing, and kind of exposing the whole thing, and it got taken down, but that was only for I think 2 days, and it came back. But it does make me wonder, luckily she has a large enough platform, and I think was able to get enough energy riled up about it.
Exactly.
But say this was she only had 1,000 or 2,000 followers, would she have gone her account back? I don't know. So it's makes me wonder, was this intentional? Because I could totally write. I've been seeing a lot too, not just her account, other similar stuff. I got some weird shit a while ago where they were acting like I was a spam account or some shit, and I got like limited. And it's like I don't know if that's just like them ironing out the kinks of the algo or some shit, trying to get rid of bots or whatever. I mean, I have a hard time figuring out how they would do that to Christina's account. But I mean, they did, and apparently it was manually reviewed, and they still did it. But I don't know. So I don't know the processes over there. Either way, it does seem like there is I mean, maybe they're trying to do it on the DL kind of deal to where it's like, oh, but if you push back enough, we'll do something about it. Like if you can get enough big influencers to cry about it for you, then you can get your account back. I don't know what the game plan is here, but it is almost like a way to kind of slip out the small guys, if you will. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'll say, man, I'm gonna do it's inevitable at some point. I'm gonna have to do basically an episode that kind of piggybacks off of the one that I did about DARPA's LifeLog project, with basically how I think a lot of these social media platforms were basically created by, these deep state Pentagon programs at DARPA, and pretty much, man, like I'm under the impression that Elon Musk is some sort of, I'm not entirely certain of this, but he seems connected in too many ways, right, to being some sort of controlled opposition. That if you trace him back to the PayPal mafia, and you see all the, like I said, I mentioned Whitney earlier, she's done work in exactly this as well. And dude, it's pretty extraordinary, like how many.
Okay, what if so? Then why do you think he would buy Twitter and open up freedom of speech? Because
the idea is that they already have, like, the notion is
it's a pressure valve. It's because
how do you control the?
Okay, so you're telling me it's like that thing with the cartel. The cartel will give you one shipment, but let me pass 10 of them. Here's Twitter.
Well, if you wanted to control the full range of the spectrum, this would be the way, right? So, no, like to suggest that I've seen that so many times in the chat, dude. but honestly, it's basically to subdue us, people like us, people who are desperate for freedom of speech, who are desperate for a platform that we can hopefully somewhat rely on, which we all know that we can't. But still, it's like we want to have some sort of existing platform in because that will at the very least allow freedom of speech, which then creates this palpable defense mechanism where everyone seems to, like, they're triggered to defend Elon, they're triggered to defend Twitter because they think it's this alternative, right? This alternative, method of propping up our constitutional right to free speech. But in reality, it's just another controlled, venue where they will decide and overwhelmingly dictate what can and cannot be said on the platform, which they do all the time, and
you also got to pay attention to what he says, I think, because I forget the line, but what was it, like legal or whatever was the key line, or whenever he was like free speech or whatever, like legal, individual to whatever country it's coming from or whatever the fuck. And I think that's key because I know Radix was sharing some stuff that was showing apparently the stats have gone up so far as like official responses in regards to Twitter between after and before Elon took over. Apparently now it's like something like 90% anytime they make any sort of like legal claims or whatever, that they pull it down, whereas it was closer to 50%, which I guess it depends on how you want to interpret that data, if that's a bad thing, a good thing. I mean, obviously that could mean child porn, that could mean all sorts of things, but it also makes you wonder, like, well, is that just the deep state going, hey, this person's committing libel and threatening to pursue legal action, and they go, well, I guess that's illegal. Okay. And you're kind of like this soft, like, contrition towards the power that be. And then you have this idea that you actually have some sort of free speech. And don't get me wrong, it's still obviously better than the alternative in some forms. But also I think people should be aware that it's not I still don't think it's quite, fully free. I mean, I'd love to be proven wrong. But yeah.
Right.
I think Sam wrote the N-word the other day on Twitter. It's pretty
no,
free.
it's a lot. No, I'm not, again, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying that it's not significantly better than it was. And honestly, Twitter's like basically, my go-to social media platform that I utilize most often. So it's definitely, but my primary concern is that Whitney might be right about this notion that, the WeChat, right? The Chinese app, and that basically everything in China is, as a citizen, is tied to this app. All your social media, all your bank accounts, and it's a social credit system de facto. So it's just like, the idea is, you see Elon is clearly, I just read, like, what is he? He's creating like a Twitter app where they're going to have TV shows like rivaling Netflix and shit soon, which I just read, which that makes sense. So he's expanding the business model. It's not going to just be what we think of as Twitter anymore. And so the idea is that expansion will continue. But
isn't that what they're all going to do? Isn't that what Facebook is doing?
You're probably right. Yeah, I mean, you're probably right. But
so it's just what companies do. I mean, I'm not saying you're not right. I'm just saying,
right.
if I was Elon Musk and I'm already capitalizing on this, I'm like, well, what's next?
Right. No, yeah, I agree with you there. Most definitely. My number one concern, all of his money comes from lucrative government contracts that are afforded to him by the Pentagon. I don't trust you already. Second, all right, you look at the ties to the PayPal mafia, Peter Thiel. All right, you see the people that Peter Thiel makes, hires on as advisors, and pays them absurd amounts of money, like Avril Haines, who was, the second in charge of Event 201, the simulation that right before who was then given like a primary position in Biden's administration afterward. And like, you see that she's working with Peter Thiel this entire time. Like, they're all so tied to intelligence. That's my biggest concern. And then once you like read into the details of exactly who these connections are and what their business interests are, this all collides into this perfect storm of like a potential everything app where you have this this KYC, know your customer obligation, to where you can't even log into Twitter unless you confirm your identity with a driver's license, a social security number, and tie potentially your bank accounts to this. You know what I mean? It's like, which Elon's already been suggesting. And beyond that, what was the end goal of the food chain reaction?
No, but you just don't have a Twitter. Then you just don't have a Twitter. And you go to, and then you find, and then there'll be a platform like Twitter that won't ask for that.
Hopefully, that's my number one concern, is that that's not going to be the case.
What do you guys think about Trump and the whole him kind of backing down on the whole ban TikTok now? And now he's like, well, if we tag TikTok, that empowers Meta. And I was like, weren't you the first one trying to ban TikTok?
Well, I think at least Thomas Massey is spot on when he was just like, I saw him just post about how this is like going to be some sort of precedent setting like operation, where basically this is not going to only this isn't going to only affect foreign companies, right? Like, this is going to affect domestic companies as well. And so they will be able to decide whose website they can pull down whenever they want, right? And so that's basically, so again, it is like another precedent setting notion, like, as far as I'm concerned. From and by the way, I should say, have you heard of Operation Cyber Polygon? Which is basically, we already know that Klaus Schwab has said, he's mentioned that the next threat will make COVID pale in comparison. It'll be this massive cyber attack. And he called it like a cyber pandemic, right? And basically said that we'll have to restructure the global society as a reaction and a consequence of this cyber pandemic. And I just think that overwhelmingly they're going, like, my theory, and it's not mine. I mean, many people I think believe that basically what will happen is that they're going to black out the internet, right? In some sort of cyber attack. They'll blame on Russia. They'll blame on some foreign country. And then they'll have, it's problem, reaction, solution, the age-old concept.
Well, for how long? How long is that blackout you're talking about?
Only long enough for them to basically restructure financial markets to where they can
2 weeks to stop the curve.
Yeah. Where they can pin everybody down to a digital currency, right? So a CBDC type scenario, or as well as they'll have the secondary internet they've already constructed with all these different, like KYC, like I mentioned earlier, where you won't even be able to log online. Doesn't matter what website you go to. Doesn't matter what social media platform you want to visit. You won't even be able to access the internet without a KYC verification where they can identify who you are as a citizen and where you are. That's the fucking problem, right? And I think that is certainly possible, dude, right? Because, I mean, it wasn't Operation Cyber Polygon was like multiple countries all coming together in this forum to where they could simulate out this potential reality that would occur. And it's pretty startling, man. So I, at the very least, I'm just saying, like, I'm not certain of anything, but I'm very skeptical. I don't really trust shit. I don't trust anyone for the most part. So, like, I'm not looking for a hero. I'm not looking for somebody to come save us. I don't think that is really the psychological approach we should take.
You feel you're like very black pill though. I feel like no future in that one.
I mean, I know, like, I don't want to sound that way. I really don't. But and again, like, it seems like that is my perspective, and it is to a certain extent. But at the same time, it's like, dude, I still see beauty in life. I think you can enjoy the world that you live in. You can make a reality for yourself that's worth living, right? And so that doesn't mean that just because the outside world's burning down around us doesn't mean that we can't have relationships and friendships that are worthwhile, things that, like I said, make life worth living, like occupy your time with something valuable, and I think that just because you don't believe in a government, just because you don't believe in some structured state, some central governing body that has to make decisions for all the rest of us in order to guide society to some, I don't know, proper perspective or outlook or end goal. I just don't believe that anybody is going to really have my best interest at heart, right? Just don't see that. They don't they don't know me. They don't know my family. They don't know anything about me. And so I think the system is inherently, flawed. Right. And so that's my number one black pill, is just that I think that the structure of the system is inherently immoral and unethical. And I don't philosophically appreciate it. I don't believe in it, and I think in every way it will only be corrupted further. It will only be utilized to oppress. I mean, that's it. And so I don't believe in democracy because it's just the tyranny of the majority. And I don't trust the fucking majority, man. The majority is ignorant. The majority makes no sense to me. The majority makes me feel like an outcast and a misfit who doesn't belong. Right. And so I'm just saying, man, maybe it's because of decades and generations of propaganda that has just derailed, global society to such a degree to where I have this kind of black-pilled perspective, but I hate to put it that way because I honestly do believe that the world is a beautiful place. It's just you have to have the right mindset, and if you aren't aware of what to be skeptical of and what to be concerned about, at least to a certain extent, then how are you not going to facilitate the current system? How are you not going to continue ushering through this immoral structure? That's my thing. And so I don't believe I have the right to decide for you, right? I don't believe I have the right to decide anything for you, except that you can't steal my shit and hurt people and including myself. That's basically it. Beyond that, I don't really see too many core principles, that anyway, man, I'm not trying to I wasn't trying to argue with you.
It sounds black-pilled, but
no. I just said you sounded black-pilled. I wasn't, and that's
no, I know.
No, I wasn't, dude. I just said that's
realism.
Damn.
I mean, it's just realism, in my opinion. It's just, but then from there you see what you can affect and what and go from there. It's like people can say it's black-pilled. Not saying you specifically, but it's kind of like, well, this is the deal. And I do think, as you guys I know are both, I think, in Cali or in that area. So you guys are silly geese, but there's still room for things to be great. You go to rural red areas for now, or if you're already there, or if you aren't able to move, I don't know, find ways to move your life a little bit more in that direction. But I mean, I think there's ways we can improve. I just do think if you're investing too much time and depending on some sort of system, you're setting yourself up for failure. But all right, guys, we're gonna move into the call-in portion of it. I'm going to put out a number here in a second. I already tweeted out from my account a StreamYard link for you guys if you guys want to do it on video. Also, my patrons have that; they got early access. But I do want to recognize my one of my sponsors real quick before we continue. FoxandSons.com. Fans of No Way Jose, use code Jose to receive 15% off your order of $30 or more. Orders of $37.99 and over always ship free. It's FoxandSons.com. These guys are more than just supporters, more than just advertisers. They've been supporting me for a while, and other content creators like me. He started out as a way to honor his times with his dad, and he took that and he found a way to pass on those lessons he learned from his dad onto his kids about entrepreneurship. It's great stuff. Drink this stuff black just because it's delicious, even though I'm the kind of guy who usually likes to put a little bit of cream in that. But with that, let's get into the show. I'm going to put up the banner for the call-in for this. I'm going to I just figured out how to do this for the show. 941-281-5857. If you guys want to call in, do that. Otherwise, we'll just hang out with the live chat for in the meantime until we get any sort of calls, whether that be over on the StreamYard for a video call, or you want to just do a normal, phone call via landline. That works too. But other than that, we'll just kind of be hanging out with the live chat. I guess just to get into it before we have any questions roll in, Austin, you had some new take on the Vegas shooting you wanted to talk about, I believe.
Oh. What was the take before? Oh,
go ahead.
Bro, you want me to get detailed?
Yeah, go for
it. This wasn't my take, but the craziest one that I've heard, I don't know if you guys kind of not buy into it, but helicopters.
Oh shit! All right, I have a note on the helicopters that's worth mentioning, no doubt. And but by the way, I will say that somebody hit me up on Twitter, I believe it was, and here it was. Yeah, and he was just suggesting that one of the guests that was there that night that was he was having a party on the floor below paddock, right?
Oh shit.
And it's so crazy because he's like this hedge fund investor, and he deals with billions of dollars, right? And I didn't realize until after the fact that I actually, when I did the only Twitter space I've ever done, it was about the Vegas shooting, and when I was in that space, dude, this guy was actually in there, and I talked with him a few times, and I was like, wait, hold on. This guy says he was there, right? And he's like this colonel, right? He's this military authority that that was there with his wife, who was having some party that night, and basically claimed that he and hotel staff went and he had a gun on him. This is what he claimed, and he even said this in the space. I thought it was interesting. But yeah, the first thing I thought though was like, oh shit, this guy is like potentially a spook, like what is actually going on here? But anyway, I just thought it was funny because I didn't actually realize that was the guy that this person DM'd me about, that I had actually talked to him. So I thought it was hilarious. But there is some crazy facts with that helicopter story that basically lends credibility to like an exfiltration that occurred that night, right? And it was either the exfiltration from a hit team that could have potentially been there to assassinate, Mohammed bin Salman, which remember I did mention that when I was on Tinfoil. We talked about Vegas for just a brief moment, and anyway, so it's pretty insane because basically there's a connection between a company called Maverick Aviation Group, which of course has long-standing ties to supplying the CIA with military-grade helicopters, right? Well, apparently the CIA needed Russian helicopters because of its clandestine operations in Afghanistan. And so it's even connected to the operation codenamed Jawbreaker, all right, which flew a team of CIA guys into Afghanistan's Panjshir Valley, right, as the very first invasion of American troops into Afghanistan after 9/11, and it was using Maverick Aviation Group to source these Russian helicopters for the CIA to do this. Sure. So I thought that was fucking nuts because the exact same company is connected to the helicopters that basically went covert and turned off the tail identification number whenever they were hovering over the Mandalay Bay that same night, right? And so there was apparently these helicopters that were there at the Vegas shooting were 3 Mustang Leasing LLC Airbus EC-130 helicopters, which had affiliation with the Maverick Aviation Group, and it was their transponders which had gone dark before the shooting started. So again, like I said, it's lending more credibility to reports of potential helicopter exfiltration being performed on the roof of one of the hotels, as well as reports of gunfire coming from at least one of the helicopters from the very same night. So that for sure at least confirms that there were helicopters that were there that night, which, by the way, also have a connection to this flight, because the transponder number that they allegedly had on these helicopters was a false transponder number that was connected to this flight that never took off, that was allegedly scheduled to land at McCarran in Vegas that night, but because of the shooting was grounded before it ever took off and never arrived in Vegas. Right. Their tail number was what was attributed to these helicopters, which I thought was absolutely crazy, right? But I think the craziest connection to Vegas, man, is the pedo connection, right? The pedophile connection because of his brother, Benjamin Paddock. That was his dad, his other brother, Bruce, right? It's because he had 3 brothers, right? But his dad was Stephen Paddock's dad was on the FBI's most wanted list for over a decade. And he used all these different, numerous aliases while he was living in Oregon, right? And so one of Stephen Paddock's 3 brothers, Bruce, he happened to be arrested in North Hollywood in late October 2017, the exact same month his brother, Stephen Paddock, allegedly shot up, the music festival.
What'd they catch him with?
Yeah, man. So they catched old Bruce with in North Hollywood with possessing over 600 child pornographic images, right? And so these charges would be dropped in May of 2018 after a judge intervened on Bruce Paddock's behalf by denying the prosecutor's request to postpone the case because a witness was unavailable. Paul Akins, who was a spokesman for the LA County District Attorney's Office, he claimed that this left prosecutors unable to move forward with their case against Bruce Paddock. And this story perfectly aligns with the disturbing theory when I was digging deeper into Stephen Paddock's background with the Silkway Airlines, those 2 planes that he owned, right? Because not only could he have been running an arms operation as an affiliated spook with Operation Fast and Furious at the time, right? Which we know he was running guns with those planes. He could have also potentially been running a human trafficking operation based out of the Philippines, right? And I really believe
he had his girlfriend from the Philippines,
Marilu Danley, bro.
She flew back, and he sent her some a fuckload of money,
dude,
and
like
she could have been the Jesslyn Maxwell.
Yeah, she could have been the Ghislaine handler of the 100%. No,
she was there, yeah.
I 100%
Damn, I've never
agree
thought
with
about
that.
it like that. Holy shit.
No doubt, bro.
Deep right there. That's deep.
So
you think they Jeffrey Epstein him pretty much, but took out more people with him?
I think that he was a loose end, and he was probably the first dead in that hotel room that night. I think
loose end as in like on a sick one, gambling, can't get him under control, spilled one too many secrets out, or they just needed to get rid of him. Or
I think,
because let's not forget, they did this at what music festival?
It was
Route 66. Route 66.
Yeah.
Country music festival. Yep. Who never wants to let go of their Second Amendment rights?
Conservatives, baby.
Here we go. You guys don't want to get rid of your rights? Here you go.
Exactly.
Because when it
take the bump stocks, please. It's like 100%, man.
And did the Mandalay Bay really change anything,
bro?
After what happened? I don't know if you guys been to Vegas. I go every so often because we live pretty close. Not once do they check. Not once do I see metal detectors,
dude,
in the front of the gates and in the front of the doors. Nothing really changed. I'm assuming if this really happened, wouldn't you want change? I mean, the hotel. I heard the hotel's like stock is down, obviously, but that's now that with that guy owns like 22 of them. I think the MGM owner owns like the 22 of them. I think. Yeah, there's like 4 owners of all Las Vegas.
Yep. Yeah, and MGM Resorts International that owns the Mandalay Bay, they basically covered up this whole thing, right? Including orchestrating Jesus Campos, the security guard who allegedly was first on the scene to report to the shooting, which they claimed he was reporting to an open door ajar alert, is what they claimed he was actually reporting to. And there was all these discrepancies in the time as to when he actually got there. Was it before the shooting? Was it after the shooting began? And this guy, Jesus Campos, they allegedly owned the same, which I know MGM Resorts International does own the same production company that owned the Ellen DeGeneres show, right? Sure. Which was his only appearance in the media after the shootings. And he went out there, and they even claimed that attorneys for the injured, she claimed that the entire thing was a sophisticated hoax, that they had actually used his walking cane as a prop, and that the whole Ellen DeGeneres appearance was scripted. And that he was put up in a hotel, him and his family, by MGM Resorts International, who kept him secure, safe, away from the media, giving him like everything he could imagine, even like an all expenses paid trip. And then he goes out and he does his little performance, and then he disappears. So yeah, it's the whole thing's crazy, man. But and so that theory about Silkway Airlines, though, I mean, that the defense contractor that Stephen Paddock actually worked for was called Theokal, right? And he didn't stop working for them, right? Like until like the 1980s, like I think is like when he was like significantly doing most of his work for this State Department contractor or defense contractor. And so obviously, like the 2 planes and his pilot license. We know that his main company since 2004 was Paradise Ranch, right? Which is apparently a joint venture with the Philippine Children's Fund of America, a charity that happens to provide a transitional home for American children we fly from the Philippines. So there is also a Paradise Ranch in the Philippines. Marilu Danley, his partner's home country. And this Paradise Ranch just happens to be next to a large-scale sex trafficking, like as far as is known to be in this same area as large-scale sex trafficking, which is apparently this Clark Freeport zone in Angeles City in the Philippines, and happens to be exactly next to a U.S. Air Force base, which is very strange. So I think that there's like real tangible evidence that connects Stephen fucking Paddock to a child sex trafficking operation out of the Philippines.
Isn't that airline company? Isn't that connected to the Finder's Call, or am I mixing up my knowledge?
No,
here?
that was
Okay.
Air America. That Epstein flight company that was Southern Air Transport and changed their fucking name, and that's a very similar story, man. And when I've been doing like crazy research, man, on Marc Dutroux this past week, and holy shit, like I'm not even near the end of that, and I'm talking from a 1 to Epstein. What was Marc Dutroux? It was like he's just the Epstein, the Belgian version of Epstein. Like that's really what he was. I mean, he was running a prolific state-sponsored.
So I got a question. You said that this guy there's a Jeffrey Epstein from Belgium, right?
I don't know. No, I'm saying this Marc Dutroux is basically Jeffrey Epstein from Belgium.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. What I was trying to ask you is there Jeffrey Epstein in pretty much every country?
That's what I'm starting to think, man. I mean, because
it's literally I'm like, holy fuck. So they're all connected. They all know each other. Yeah. They try, like, what the fuck's going on? Like, now that you got me thinking, I'm like, what up? Mexico's got one. Canada's got one. Well, we know the Canada one. What's his name?
Oh,
he's old. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. He like owns Dillard's and shit. Mm-hmm. What is his name?
I'll look him up right now. Let me see if I can look him up real quick. I'm.
All right, guys. I have someone calling in real quick. I'm gonna check in with them and see what they have to say. Yeah, hey, man. How are you? You're on with Already Dead. What's up?
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Namrock.
Hey, how you doing?
What's up, Namrock?
What's up?
Hey.
What's up?
I'm really enjoying the show, guys.
Peter Nygaard.
Thanks, brother. Peter Nygaard. That's it, dude. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right,
Peter
what's
Nygaard.
up, Namrock? It's nice to talk to you in person. You're actually the person who birthed this show. For those who aren't aware, you're the one who told me and Austin we should do this, and we're like, yeah, it's a great fucking idea, and here we are. So, what's up, man?
Oh, nothing. Just taking a break at work and figured I'd call in, say thanks for all the shout outs last week, and glad this all worked out. One of my favorite parts of when you guys did your shows on Jonestown and the Finders is when you guys would get kind of like sidetracked and off topic and just start shooting the shit about random conspiracy stuff. So that's what I figured I'd tell you both, like, hey, how about a show where you just get sidetracked?
Yeah, you were right.
You were, bro.
Yeah. You have any questions or anything you want to ask before we let you go? But either way, I appreciate you, bud. Definitely don't ever hesitate to hit me up on social media.
Just wanted to call and say hi, guys.
All right, appreciate it, man. We'll let you go. We'll get back to the conversation. For those out there, we have almost 500 people watching. I think we had 300 last episode, so hell yeah, that's an improvement. But between you 500 people, if you guys want to hop on, whether it's on the phone call or the StreamYard, you want to do like a fucking video version of it, that's up to you. Feel free to hop on and we'll bring you on and talk with you. But did we just lose XG?
Whoa,
that was weird. Know. Okay, whatever. I'm assuming he'll be back in a second, or we'll just wrap on our own. All right. All right.
I'm sure.
Wasn't that sus airline connected to child trafficking? No, that was another sus airline company.
Yeah, I just thought that was funny.
There we go. We got him back.
Oh, is when I click it. If I show that, maybe it was too large a text or something.
I don't know. It clicked me off though. That was weird. I don't know. It might have been my connection. We good though.
I think it was me, dude. I showed this text, and right as I did, you disappeared, and the text showed up, and then when I hid the text, it went down, and then you were back. So I guess that was my bad. So sorry.
We're good.
But I did think that was funny. But dude,
that's crazy. Like, I mean, now that you got me thinking about it, I'm like, I mean, like you said, it must be like connect the dots type of shit.
Yep. And by the way, Peter Nygaard, he's got a son. I'm trying to remember his name. I can't remember it, but he's legit. Like, he's actually doing really good work. And Peter Nygaard has like a shitload of children. So it's like, not all of them are necessarily like, oh, Peter was great to me. Yeah, I grew up with him and stuff. Like, it wasn't like that,
Jeffrey Epstein being who he was, he don't have no kids?
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Ain't that weird?
And he had a stable in New Mexico where he was like trying to impregnate women.
Well, he was more trying to like reproduce. Like, what is that thing where like you can't get rid of you? Like,
that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Eugenics shit, man. Where he's like,
reproduce himself, like clone himself in a weird kind of way, right. Like make the like someone that's him, but like so close to him. Yeah.
Type of situation.
All right, guys. I have one more. I have another person to bring on. Let me do that, and then I also have Top Lobster sitting in the queue right now.
What do you mean? Top Lobster is on the show?
Yeah, he's already here.
For real, right?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, what's up, caller? What's up? You're on Already Dead.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, what's up?
How's it going?
I just wanted to call in and say, man, I really like y'all's show. Y'all do a real good job.
Appreciate it.
Y'all, I'm rebuilding y'all. I listen to y'all while I'm working on motorcycles. I'm rebuilding a carburetor right now.
Hell yeah.
There we go. Blue collar.
Yeah, I just wanted to call in and say, man, y'all keep up the good work. Y'all do a hell of a job.
Appreciate it. Man,
hell, I done found all y'all stuff on Spotify and YouTube and everywhere.
Awesome.
I wait on new stuff.
Hell yeah.
Well, hell yeah, dude. That warms my heart. That's great. You have any questions before we move on? But I do want to express that really is great. That makes me smile.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't understand you. What'd you say?
Oh, just saying that made me smile. Do you have anything you want to ask the group or anything you want to bring up before we let you go?
Not that, man. That 764 shit is some crazy shit. I was looking at it a while ago with that BX chick.
Yeah.
And they're steadily fucking with her. That's some crazy shit to follow. It's like, that's what first caught my attention with that kind of stuff. I was like, what? Because I'm 40. I'm about to be 44. So I remember the satanic panic shit, from whenever I was young, like my parents thought, I look like one of my favorite bands is Slayer. And, I had to go through that whole thing of what the hell you got pentagrams hang on the wall.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But I've never been a Satanist or anything. It's just for the shock. So that's what I thought it was at first. But, digging in, man, these fucking kids really believe in that stuff.
Yeah, no, it's wild shit. That put me down a schizophrenic fucking rabbit hole.
Can someone fill me in on the 764 chick, or what do we?
All right, you need to pass a word over to Sam. Needs to cover this ASAP. Like, this is breaking satanic pedophile cult bullshit right now.
Like it, I bet. Yeah, dude.
Essentially, what's happening is there is some component of some large, shadowy, other satanic group, but it's in a real world sense, it's kids and some young adults that are going on these like Discords and shit like that, and finding younger individuals, typically women in their probably 12 to maybe early 20s at the latest, and they are essentially finding women who are depressed, hurting themselves. And then they will like try to get them to hurt themselves more, send sexual pictures, and then they essentially do like sextortion, but also kind of like a also like self-harm extortion to where then they will extort and be like, we'll tell your parents. And then they just kind of, the cycle just continues. And it's created this whole thing where it's literally a satanic pedophile cult, as silly as it sounds, where, that's their whole thing is like getting young women. So it's essentially like, pedophiles getting women to hurt themselves, kill small animals, all sorts of weird shit like that, and that's what they get off on. It's a whole thing. I have a whole playlist on my show for those interested. Go check out 764/09A, but it is wild stuff. But I appreciate you, caller. I'm going to let you go so I can get Top on here. I know Xavier has a hard out, but I appreciate your support. But do you have any other final thoughts before I let you go, bud?
All right, thank y'all. Have a good one.
All right, you too.
Later. Sounds good, brother.
Bye-bye.
All right, I'm going to bring in Top now.
Word.
What's up, dude?
What's up?
What the fuck is up,
I'm having double vision here. I always wondered what kind of person watches this fucking show, and now I know it's a guy that's rebuilding his carburetor. My family, they're stealing catalytic converters. You guys are rebuilding shit. This is a different. I'm on this show. I don't even think I'm going to get any fans in the overlap here, but that's fine. That's fine. What's going on, guys?
I see Nephilim Death Squad, and this show Already Dead is kind of like
it's called the Anunnaki Nephilim Show. Starring XG.
Hey, okay, can you fill in on what happened? I woke up hungover as fuck on Saturday. My Twitter, and I don't really tweet that much, so I was blowing up, and I went down the rabbit hole. And I'm guessing that what I got the conclusion of is he said, to go on your show, assuming it was me.
Sorry, interruption. We have Clint joining us now. Go on.
What's up? Ended up finding out it wasn't me, canceled, and then got mad at you for using the Lord's name in vain. Is that the rundown?
So here's what happened. I'll explain, and it's really funny now that I think about it. So Jay Dyer follows me, and I got a lot of people follow me. Not like Clint, but 30,000. Not to brag. Okay,
that's a good amount.
It's respectable.
Yeah.
When I
Very
rip
respectable.
It out, the ladies are like,
I agree. If a girl says, "Let me see your following," and you come out with 30, you're in the game.
30.7, but who's
you just pulled out like an 8-incher. You're in the game, dude.
And I'm like, and one of those fucking centimeters is Jay Dyer. I actually made a post. I was like, everyone act calm. Like when I get a big follow that I'm like a fan of, I'm like, oh shit, like I will be like, yo, this is cool. So he follows me. I'm like, oh shit, Jay Dyer followed me. That's really cool. Then he's interacting with me. This is weeks ago, and he's like commenting on my shit. He's liking my stuff. And I was like, this is really cool. Then he starts talking about some Nephilim shit. So I was like, yo, come on the show and talk about it. And he was like, for sure. And then he DMs me and he's like, let's do it before my show. He has a show Friday. He's like, let's do it before my show on Friday. I was like, fucking hell yeah, this is crazy. And then he goes, dude, if you're in LA, come out to the show. I'm going to be doing it with Jamie Kennedy. So I called David. I'm like, you fucking kidding me, dude?
What's crazy is I technically could have pulled up to that, which I would have definitely done that if you would have just told me.
Dude, go on Friday. But me being the asshole that I am, with the huge head that I have, I'm like, for sure, 30,000 followers. Invite me. Like, not a big... Then it turns out that the motherfucker he has no clue who I am. He goes on his show and he goes, I'm going to be doing XG show, which I get it. He's like, he's like, some fucking brown, some fucking brown guy invited me on and I'm going to talk. And then he tried to insult me too. He's like, we're going to talk about the Anunnaki. And I was like, fuck you. Like, that's gay. It's not Anunnaki shit. This is Nephilim shit. Everybody knows that. But he was like, yeah, I'm going to do this. So one of my fans was like, hey, I think he thinks you're XG. So I look at the video and I go, oh, I just commented. I was like, he definitely thinks I'm XG. Then he comments back at me. He was like, oh shit, my bad. And then I just comment back like joking around because this is who I am. I'm like, I guess the interview's off then, right? Because you accepted one from XG and it's like, now you're going to sit down and talk to a guy you don't know. It's really awkward. So he does this thing where I guess I think he panicked and he doesn't want to talk to us. And I get it. Because like I wouldn't want to talk to someone like I accidentally consented to go to their show. I don't know who you are. So then he just like starts. David says Jesus Christ, like my co-host. He goes, oh, Jesus Christ, man. And he goes, did you just take the Lord's name in vain, bro? I can't believe you just did that. He was like, you know what? Interview's off. And I was like, that was like the most retarded way to do it. Just own up to it. Like, listen, I can't read. You look like some other spick that I know, and I'm out. And then it was like, all right, respect. But yeah, it went down weird. And then I guess we kind of hashed it out, but like we still made fun of him ruthless because this is what we do. And I thought he was a comedian too, right? He does comedy.
No. He's I mean, when he comes on Tinfoil Hat, he's got a library behind him. He's got like the Library of Alexandria behind him. He reads.
Comedy, though.
Why does he say he does comedy?
He might. I mean, I know he does live shows. He does live shows. Look, I don't even call myself a comic. To me, a comic is a very respectable. You go up on stage, you do open mics. You can do 45 minutes. That's a comic, 30 minutes at least. I just go up on stage. You know, I am blessed. It's a craft, dude. You get what I'm saying? I've just seen real comics, and to me, it's like, oh, that's a comic. Like they write, they go, and I don't know. It's just, but I don't know if he is. I mean, if he calls himself that, by all means, I don't even call myself that. But
well,
if he is, and like you said, if he is. He should just fucking brush it off the shoulders and keep going on. And I even told him he should have done the podcast. He guys laughed about it, and it would have been it.
He tried to. Let's be real, Top. You guys got a little aggro.
No. I didn't get aggro at all. David got aggro with him.
David
got aggravated. He was like, "You fucked up the name of my show. You called my host some other spick." It was a whole thing. And I was
you
like,
don't talk to Dad like that.
I was like, it's fine. It's okay. And then he goes, so I'll do your show. And I was like, you know what? I'll be honest with you, man. It's a little weird now. Like our show is like, we want to have a good time. And the people that we have on, we don't want to just have you go through the motions. Like we're actually going to interview you and do something different with you. We want to have a conversation. I was like, and it's kind of weird now. Like, I feel like there's going to be tension. And I was like, maybe we'll just let it cool off. And he was like, so like we left off. He's like, I'll come on the show. And I was like, all right, we'll reschedule. But like, I just didn't want to be like, all right, let's do it again. Like just to have like an interview for interview's sake. He's like, nah, I want to talk with you. I want to like have fun.
He's good people. He's really smart, dude. He's like I think it'd be a good interview. It was just, like I said, it was funny. I woke up and I was like, the fuck's going on?
The world is on fire. I'm in the position where I was like, Jay Dyer invited me to Los Angeles. How fucking cool is that? Because I'm telling you. So
Would you have pulled up? Would you have pulled up on there?
Yeah, you know, I know. No, because it was. Listen, that
would have been great. Week. You know how great that would have been, and then he would have asked you, "Where's Sam?"
He's like, "Who the fuck is this?" Just looking around. No, well, here's the thing though. So I hit him with the because he was being real aggro. I'm telling you, he was being real like disrespectful, sort of. And I was just like, I said, you know what, dude? I think this is a misunderstanding. And I said, it'll be better if we talk it out face to face. And then I dropped the link of Sam saying like that we're doing the show in Florida. And I was like, if you're in Florida, you know, flex, come and talk with me. And then he goes, oh shit, my bad. I'll do your show. And I was like, all right, well, what's going on right now? Because like before he was just ready to shit on us and just send us off. But I'm like, listen, we're actually sort of trying to do some stuff over here. I don't know, man. The whole thing was strange. So
he'll come through. So he'll come on. Yeah, I'll let him know. Yeah, I mean, Sam loves you guys, so it's just a matter of him understanding it was a fucking dumb miscommunication. That's it.
This nigga's still holding his microphone. Are you kidding me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
All right, cool.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, you have a new mic though.
Right. So I finally got my new mic. I got the mic from the dude. Didn't work. So then I just went to Amazon and I bought my own. So I just got it. And now I try to undo the screw to hook up to the arm, and it's stripped. So I had to order a new bolt. So tomorrow I'm back in business. Anyways, Top, anybody else when at Jay Dyer like this, I would be like, yo, this is like kind of a big time dude, and you're like alpha. You're like trying to alpha him, and this is totally psychotic.
We performed a humiliation ritual on Jay Dyer. Is what we did.
Let me finish the point. The point I'm trying to make is anybody else, I'd be like, this is bad business. This is not how you handle things. When it comes to you and David, I'm like, you guys are doing the exact right thing. Just fucking continue to be you. You're both lunatics. It's gonna work out fine.
Maybe, probably. Are you gonna be in Florida, XG?
No, I'm not gonna be in Florida. No. Aww. I know. So that's sad.
You have the complexion for it. Said you have the complexion for it.
Yeah, you look like everybody I pass on the street here.
Oh, dude. I went to Miami once, and I think it's the spot.
Yep. That's where I'm at right now.
It's the spot. Yep. I can see that.
It's
nice background.
People that look like you and Jews. That's it. That's all we got.
There's a lot of Nephilim shit going on. What was this episode about? I'm sorry to pop in and be disrespectful, but what were you guys talking about?
We were just shooting the shit. If you guys have something to throw in the mix, go for it. I mean, but
where we go? We hit the Vegas shooting. which he dropped some major knowledge. I mean, if you want to go over it again, I'm still mind blown where I'm down like, what the fuck?
I gotta have him on my show.
I listened to it in the gym, so don't do it again to me, please. I had him on my show too, but it is fascinating. No, so just bottom line it for me. Who pulled the trigger?
Jews. Oh, sorry.
In Vegas?
I jumped ahead. I got ahead of myself.
Someone pulled the trigger. Maybe multiple people, but who do you think pulled it?
I think
I know it's a guess, but
yeah, I think most likely it was one of the individual members of the hit squad, the hit team that was sent there that night. That's what I probably think happened. More likely than not, because I think Stephen Paddock was dead before the shots were ever fired. Right. So
what? So he never shot.
I don't think he ever pulled the trigger. No. Yeah. And I honestly think it was almost, I'm almost certain that it was a machine gun. Like I was re-listening to it again. And for a second, I was listening to this guy. I talked to this weapons expert who was trying to make the argument. I listened to this other weapons expert who was making another argument as far as the bump stock and the actual audio sound of the shooting taking place. And it's like an M249 basically is everything that I can tell. Now I've heard some firearms experts claim that it could actually have been a bump stock. So I guess you can't be entirely certain, but when I listened to that,
nah,
man, there's no way in hell
that's a machine gun. I listened to it. I listened to it again too after I did the interview with you, and that shit. Like, if you listen to bump stock fire, it's either much faster, but it's also inconsistent too.
Right, exactly.
I don't buy it, dude. That shit is steady.
It's got like a click too. Like the bump stock has it has an interesting, unique sound. Like I swear to God, you can tell. And that M249 has a very similar sound. And you put those, I've seen those video edits. You put them side by side, basically. You play them over and over again. It's like there's no way around it, So I don't know.
I got something from the chat. This is I give out for every episode. I give out a code for my patrons. That way they get chat preference. And that's only, I'm caveating this because I have no idea what the fuck this means. So if you want to clarify more in the chat, let me know. Douglas shitting. So if anyone knows what that means, yeah, you just wasted your code. I mean, Douglas shitting. I don't know. Maybe that sparked something in someone's head here. Like, oh shit, Douglas shitting, and now I have a whole
it'll spark something. It sparked something in my head, but it's something someone else shitting. Have you guys heard?
Oh shit, bro! Have you guys heard?
Have you guys heard the new Broken Sim?
About it. It inspired me, bro.
Broken Sim. Oh, is that where he shits?
Yeah, you literally.
This motherfucker made me make a clip for him for Instagram on Reel, so I had to re-listen to him shit like 4 or 5 times, dude.
Bro, you hear the toilet seat.
Homeboy's asking about the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas shooting.
Shooting.
Yeah,
I thought shitting. See, I'm glad I brought it up. Someone knew the fuck he was talking about. All right. I don't know if anyone has anything to say about that. I don't know enough about that.
4 idiots and one like mildly smart person was like, no, that's not what he meant.
He's not talking about shitting, you absolute lunatics.
I think there's like a tangential connection to Vegas, right? Because there were some of the similar players. Is that? Am I remembering this correctly? Right, because it happened in Vegas, didn't it?
Aren't there always like similar players in this? No, like they're always kind of like the same crisis actors going on.
Well, then I'm thinking about a different. There was another shooting that happened,
and
it was
Douglas
kind of
is David Hogg.
Oh, well,
which is his dad was in the CIA, I think. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, he's totally a Fed. I mean, I don't know anything about that story, but he's totally a Fed.
Is there any veracity to like to the helicopter stories? They're shooting from the helicopters, something like that.
I mean, yeah, and I did briefly, just for a moment, explain that when XG brought it up because it is certainly strange. And basically, there's like the same company that was supplying these Russian helicopters to the CIA when they like this CIA team needed Russian helicopters because of clandestine operations in Afghanistan. And like these were the first helicopters that brought a CIA team into Panjshir Valley under codename Jawbreaker. And it was in order to cement support among tribal leaders and pave the way for the U.S. military operations. But basically, the connection there is that same company that is known to that, you know, for quite some time has provided these unique helicopters to the CIA for some sort of plausible deniability when they're running covert ops. That this same company, Maverick Aviation, was the one who supplied these 3 helicopters whose transponders went dark minutes before the shooting began while hovering above the Mandalay Bay, right? And so they were like 3 Mustang Leasing LLC Airbus EC-130 helicopters. And like I said, Maverick Aviation Group was who they were affiliated with. And all 3 of their transponders went dark, right? Just minutes before, as they were hovering behind the Mandalay Bay, I guess. And so my whole kind of theory there is that it, at the very least, it lends credibility to the reports of, because there were many different reports that there was actually gunfire coming from at least one of these helicopters. There were multiple reports said that there were multiple helicopters that they saw gunfire coming from. So it's possible.
I know the answer is no. I mean, you might have a question or an answer. There's no manifesto, no reason on why he did it,
you
right?
can read, like, yeah, there's some, like, but it's not, I don't believe it for a second. And it basically, it breaks down, right? Like, just a mild investigation into his alleged manifesto, which is basically off the back of some random guy who didn't know him very well, who makes the claim that he said. So basically trying to confirm that, yes, he was mentally disturbed. He did say and verbalize that he wanted to kill people, but it wasn't like, you know, like a manifesto. The only thing that I've read as far as like a manifesto they try to claim is that he was politically motivated and he was anti-Trump, right? And I've seen people make this argument, but his own family even claims like, no, he wasn't political at all. Like, you know, so I don't know. Like even his own brother like denied that. So,
and he was the one festival too. So like, if you're anti-Trump, these are Republicans. Exactly. That makes no sense.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But what they were saying that he was like anti-Trump is what they were saying. So it's somewhat plausible. I guess you could make that argument that, oh, he's anti-Trump, so he's lashing out at Trump's base at this country music festival. But honestly, like, I don't buy it for a second. And like I said, you look into the guy who makes that claim, and I don't have it noted anywhere, and I can't remember the like, the details are escaping me, but basically he was completely full of shit, and he barely knew this guy, and he seemed to have some shady connections that would at least make you skeptical. And as far as like, why would you even entertain this idea? Because it really did seem like he had no actual affiliation with Stephen Paddock. Right. So, hey, this guy, talked to him twice. And so now we're going to use him to confirm this narrative. It really seemed much more in that vein. But anyway.
All right. We need to let Xavier go. He had a heart out for this episode. So Xavier, if you want to let people know where they can find you, and we'll let you get out of here. If you other guys want to stick around, we can shoot the shit for a little while. If
Nephilim show,
people want to call in, whatever, we can do that for a little bit too.
They're not going to notice that I left, dude.
You got to come on. You got to come on my show. Like,
let's make it happen. And then to be best, I think we should get me, you, and Jay Dyer like at the same time. And then that way he's like, okay, I see the difference. Two different guys. Thank you guys for having me on. Forever. I mean, I'm always down every Tuesdays. I'm pretty much off, and I mean, this was fun. So if you guys ever need a guest or anyone just to talk to shit, you guys know I'm on Tinfoil Hat. Go check me out. I also got this new show called Scum and Kick It. It's me when a real scumbag, and he makes me look like a gentleman, which is fucking crazy. Yeah, that's the crazy part is I look like the gentleman on this fucking show. I'm like, yo, pay for this chick's Uber. And he's like, nah. So it's a good show. It's a good time. Thank you guys. And yeah, good time. And keep the show going.
Thanks, XG. Appreciate
that,
man.
Of course. Later, guys.
All right.
I think
Cool.
XG is he might be Tower Gang material. I like XG.
For real.
He's
I don't know if we can drop the N-word. We'll have to fill that out a little bit as we go. I'm not sure. I don't know if he's like you and like Puerto Rican or if he's black. I'm not sure if we're allowed to, so I can't gauge
I
it.
wanted to ask him about immigration because I'm sure, like, since he got
immigration,
he just got here, so he probably doesn't. Like,
man, you know, David was we were talking about that, and it's not a political show, my other show, but we were talking about that, and he brought up like just homeless people and homeless males in a certain age range, because he was homeless in that age range. And I was like, well, what the fuck were you doing? And he was just describing, he was like, dude, if it was like a hot night, I was out there just doing the worst shit. And I was like, well, why? He's like, just what we do. And I was like, that's really alarming. It's really alarming that like we're letting in that specific demographic into this country. They don't even speak English. They're from fucking everywhere and just aimlessly, they're homeless. Go figure it out. It's like, dude, it's gonna be wild out there soon.
We're doing hood shit out here, nigga.
Yeah, man.
And, I mean, we got a cannibal coup in Haiti, right?
Oh,
so
wait, yeah.
We're gonna have Haitians on their way too, right? But I mean, do you remember any of the details of the story of that assassination of the Haitian president?
yeah, it's fucking Americans did it.
Yeah, 100%, bro.
Haitian barbecue. Eat your enemies, guys.
Eat your enemies.
Toplobster.com.
We're not fucking around out here.
But it's so clear. I mean, like, I think Richard said something like this on Twitter about how, like, clearly, if we replace a president, right? We already know the CIA's been, launching violent coups in Haiti for how long? So clearly, it's like, if this wasn't our guy, then we wouldn't send millions of dollars in foreign aid immediately to Haiti, right? Like, wouldn't you think? So it's clearly our guy. I mean, like, that to me is just like confirmation enough. Like, you don't really even have to dig that much deeper.
Their guy just stepped down. The prime minister of Haiti just left. Like, he fled. So
right,
it's off to the races now. You got to decide
I'm just saying,
warlord's going to take over.
Whoever does fill that vacuum is my only point, right?
Yeah.
Like, the main thing is they're always going to increase the foreign aid, right? As soon as it's their puppet, right? Yeah. So that's just, my main concern is just that we're just going to be sending like an insane amount of printed capital to another foreign country once again. Yeah, it's just another example.
That's what we did with Zelensky. As soon as he was in, we started to train up their special forces and shit. So it's the same story over and over and over and over again. But what drives me crazy, I had Ian Carlson on the show tonight with Luke and Josie, and he's just like, he watches this 30-second interview of Barbecue, and Barbecue's like being pretty, like, seemingly legit. He's like
Barbecue.
He's like to the international.
I'm sorry.
He's speaking in French, so he sounds like proper, even though he's like standing there, looking like he just ate a dude. And he's like, he's like, to the international community, I just want you to know, like, do not intervene. Allow us to sort out our own business and allow us to decide how we want to be governed. And I'm like, yeah, awesome. Sounds like a great plan. Let's not get involved. And let's also not allow for, 50,000 Haitian migrants to come into Florida. Thank you very much. And,
right.
And Ian Carlson's immediate response is, this guy's a warlord. We need to fucking bomb him. And I was like, oh my God, dude.
Wow.
Like,
I actually agree. We should leave them alone, but we should also bomb them. We should fucking bomb them before they did this shit. Just bomb Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Fuck that whole island in general. Cannot stand those people.
For the YouTube censors, this is all
this is
jest.
YouTube. My bad. I actually got to head out. I'm looking at Maddie. She just notified me that I spelled Haitian wrong.
I thought that when I first saw that, but I was like, there's no way he went through the trouble of making an actual caption for a shirt and got the words wrong. So I was like, I guess I'm wrong. And
wrong.
no, I was right.
I'll say though, this is a reflection on like the couple of people that have bought the shirt already. Though, shame on them.
I mean, truth be told, you think barbecue knows how to spell it right?
Yeah, I think it's on
Barbecue's
brand.
He's just picking his teeth. Did you see the? Oh, we'll talk about it tomorrow with the guy that just eats other dude. It's just wild, man.
How do my levels sound?
You're a little low.
Okay.
But you sound
fine.
clear.
Yeah,
right.
clear.
Just making sure.
A little quiet. Well, I guess that's probably as good a time as any to end it. So let's wrap it. I mean, I guess you guys are my call-in guys, but fuck it, whatever. You can give. You guys can give plugs too. We'll be on a show together tomorrow for Tower Gang. For those who watch my show but not Tower Gang, what are you doing? You go over to Tower Gang. But yeah, those guys will be with me tomorrow.
There's a distinct possibility that if you like this show, you will not like Tower Gang, but that's okay.
Yeah. It's a weird overlap.
Yeah. I've found that my plug of don't watch Tower Gang is actually the best way to go because then if people watch it and they hate it, they go, well, Clint told me not to, so it's on you now, motherfucker. At Liberty Lock Pod on X, if you want to follow me, Liberty Lockdown's the show. I'll be doing a new episode finally after 2-week hiatus tomorrow, and I also do the best political show. That's it. We're out.
Yeah. Top Lobster at Twitter and everywhere. TopLobster.com. Nephilim Death Squad on Friday. We have Vicky Joy Anderson. She's a woman that's been abducted multiple times by aliens or demons or whatever you want to call them. That's going to be a fun one.
You lost me at woman.
Yeah, I know. It's tough. I wouldn't have her on, but she has a great... No, she's solid. She has a really cool story, so pop in for that one.
I joke. We have a woman on next week. We have Christina or Radix Verum on next week, but go on.
Yep, that's it. And stop messing around with the Satanism stuff. Austin, don't get caught up with him in this what is it called?
What is it? Satanic ritual abuse is basically the main thing that I'm looking up. But yeah, I'm not really like on the tip with the 764 cult. Like I'm just kind of,
Yeah, he's my deep knowledge
connected.
guy.
I'm getting it all from Jose.
I'm the cutting edge retard that's just screaming out in the wind. There's fucking Satanists fucking your kids.
That's like that should be my territory with my like weird conspiracy show. But like I see it and I'm like, I don't feel like dealing with these people. They're like, these are the type of people that'll be drinking cow urine to put spells and shit on you. Whether you believe it or not, man. I don't want to be involved in it. I've got a lot of other things going on. So
I gotta let people know they're out there. They're trying to fucking, manipulate your children. And I think as silly as fucking cliche as it sounds, awareness with something like this is like the best you can really hope for because the feds... Yeah, they're doing shit about it now, but it's only because the story's blown up and now that's in their face. But it's been going on for years, so
dude.
But yeah,
and I mean it's same with the Mark Dutroux. Like, guess what? I'm thinking, okay, some Epstein style, government state sponsored, like sex trafficking network with blackmail operation of something. But of course, it comes all the way back around to the Anubis satanic cult of Belgium. It's just like, man, like what the hell? How many times have the same fucking story?
You go from thinking like as a libertarian, you're kind of like, I got to bounce after this, but like you're like, man, it's all monetary. They're after they're just trying to pervert the money. They're trying to get rich, and then you're like, oh no, it's worse. They're trying to bang kids, and then you're like, oh no, it's worse than that. They're trying to sacrifice them to like Moloch or something. It just continually gets worse, but.
They're trying to co-opt them to fuck kids themselves, and create this cycle that goes on forever and ever and ever.
I'll let you go. Like, honestly, I'll let you go. But this is literally what I just read before I came on, which fucking blew my mind. But there's this victim named Darren Jeffries, right? And he described in that. Keep in mind that John Wedger is like this. He's like a legit investigator, right? Who was like, basically he was exposing how in the UK, the authorities were basically propping up and covering up, again, like a state-sponsored child sex trafficking operation. So he basically became a whistleblower. But it gets pretty insane because basically this victim named Darren Jeffries described a similar pattern of abuse that they saw in all of Mark Dutroux's victims, which basically what he said is that they would take them to these groups of children to Rainbow Wood, located in Bath in the UK. And once there, the saints of this Anubis satanic cult of Belgium, all right, they would take part in a ritualized tribute they called the chase, where he would be stripped naked along with the other children of the group, and they would be chased by men and dogs. Once they were captured, they would be tortured, sodomized, and some of the children even died there. The chase is allegedly a tribute to the biblical Moloch or child sacrifice presented in some forms as an owl. The idea is that an owl doesn't just catch a mouse and eat it. The owl will capture a mouse and then let it go. It gives its prey a sense of freedom before tormenting and killing it. It has since been revealed that Weinstein, who was an accomplice and co-defendant who Dutroux murdered, all right, buried him alive. Yeah.
Jeez,
so Weinstein and Dutroux were not only procuring children for sex, but for satanic ritual abuse.
There's a lot to
and they
unpack there.
literally stood under the Anubis satanic cult of Belgium, which was later verified through a police investigation that went public.
Dude, so all right, number one, you got owls. Look up the correlation of owl sightings and UFO sightings. It's
God.
like, hey, dude, it's crazy. Hand in hand, people are seeing like 4 foot tall owls. They'll see an owl turn into an. Yeah, no, it's listen, whatever. You look into this.
No,
yourself.
I'm down. I'm on this, dude.
Yeah.
I'm willing to listen.
Then look into I mean, like pop culture stuff you've had on Game of Thrones where I forget, like they're hunting like a. I forgot exactly who it was, but in Game of Thrones, they were hunting someone naked through the woods. It was like maybe King Joffrey at the time, and this was like a game. Lady Gaga also did this. There's like I forgot exactly what she did, but they like kind of chased somebody naked through the woods. It was a photo op with Marina Abramovich. So that theme will repeat itself all the time. But something
Spirit cooking comes up in this too, man. I mean, it's honestly
even more interesting. Anubis, right? Or Anu.
Yeah.
We spoke to someone who says he's communicating with someone named Anu, with an entity named Anu. And what we think is that, again, it's all Nephilim shit. When you're talking about Anubis, this is an ancient Egyptian god, the god of death, and I think the death and destruction. But under all of that, really all that is just a Nephilim. The deity or the entity Anu is a production of fallen angels with something else. He has like a dog head. And you'll see that all the time. So that is like an overlap with cryptid shit. Jose's like, I'm out. I'm fucking tuning out. But dude, if you look into this stuff, it's fucking weird. And it always comes back to the Nephilim. It always comes back to that stuff. Right at the bottom.
I do genuinely find there to be interesting stuff in the Nephilim, Anunnaki, whatever. There's something there for sure. And it is funny how much, like, I know you like to joke on me for being like the agnostic atheist or whatever, but it is funny, like, even how I can come at it from this perspective and you can come at it from another perspective, and we still kind of like end up at the same spot. And it's like, whether you want to say that there's literal demons or whatever, like, yo, they're fucking your kids. They're trying to get those kids to fuck other kids. Like, it's a fucking whole nightmare out here, and they are worshiping demons. Whether those demons are real or not, that's kind of beside the fucking point. So, like, end of the day, like, watch out for these people who are worshiping demons or think they're worshiping demons, or whether you think it's a psyop and it's just MK Ultra or whatever the fuck you think it is. Either way, it's fucking evil, and I think we need to point it out and go, hey, watch out for that shit, because a lot of that stuff is pretty easy to fall into. Like,
that's the
764 stuff I was talking about before. That's not that crazy that some kid could get depressed and find some person on Roblox, and all of a sudden now they're talking to cutting themselves. Next thing you know, they're sending them nudes, and now this whole cycle just goes on and on and on and on. And
every one of these networks utilize the victims. So
it doesn't matter what you believe; it matters what they believe. And they're acting on it.
100%.
That's really what it comes down to. Yeah. But
well,
I gotta go, guys. This was wonderful. You guys got to come on our show. This be a lot of fun.
For sure. We'd love to.
Hell yeah.
I mean, at least I would. I can't speak for Austin.
No, I would.
Austin would love to
come on the show.
I would love to, Top. I swear to God.
All right, man. We'll let you go. Austin,
peace
Austin,
out.
you want to let people know where to find you at?
The Underclass podcast, basically streaming on all audio platforms. You can follow me at Underclass Pod on Twitter and at the Underclass Podcast on Instagram.
Yeah, and then guys, obviously I know you might put this up on your channel, so if you guys don't check out my show, I have the No Way Jose show. Usually I do kind of like deep dives into stuff. For example, I have on Thursday, this will be only for the patrons for now. It'll go out roughly a week or so later, but I have Jim Bovard coming on to recap a lot of the Duncan Lemp stuff.
Yeah.
He covered a lot of the on the ground stuff when that was going on. And for those who aren't aware, I actually interviewed I guess you could call her the widow. I guess technically they weren't married, but whatever, they were literally laying in bed next to each other, were a item. She was pregnant by his child. I think it's fair to call her a widow, but I had her on my show a while back, Casey Robinson. So, if you guys want to go check that out, it's the anniversary, I believe, today of it. So kind of significant. I think the 4th year anniversary of Duncan Lemp's death. For those who aren't aware, definitely go check that out, I guess. Like I said, it's on my channel. I have a whole playlist. I've done multiple episodes on it, and like I said, I'm about to do another one. So if you want to get that early stuff, it's patreon.com/NoJose2020. There's differing perks too, like as you guys paid attention here, I gave an early link to the StreamYard thing for those guys, and also the chat preference codes. So it's patreon.com/NoJose2020. That's how you get early stuff. And then I also have my sponsors, and I just want to give the big thanks to them. I have Toad, who's a co-host on Tower Gang, at Tower Gang Toad. Then at Abrogate D's and Kevin B. Clark, a full-time guitarist and private music teacher in the New York area. Then at ZOVERACK. Then at _Infinite Zeal. Then Jacob Daniel of the Biblical Anarchy podcast, at Biblical Anarchy, if you want to follow him on Twitter. That Tim Tuttle, at Jolly on Klebold. Then at Stinky Sock 420, singer of the band Bender, which is a metalcore band. So if you like that stuff, go check that out. And I also want to give a shout out for the intro, and I probably won't do this every episode because I'll get exhausting, but I love that fucking intro, at the Thin Line 123. Appreciate you guys showing up. We got almost to 700 today, so yeah, fucking dope. I think we only broke like 300 last episode, so yeah, you guys seem to be liking this. Keep showing up. I'd love to talk to you guys. So be here next week, and we'll have Christina on, and that we are out.